There's a romance to convictions, even as fact knocks them flat. Do you think you're above average in wit, beauty, or taste? If so, you join around 70% of Americans who, despite statistical impossibility, feel part of some superior 51%. That's a bunch of us mediocrities beaming, feet planted, hands on hips, proclaiming we're special. It's also that bunch of us buying size medium coupes. Not little joys like the Mazda MX-5 RF, or whiz-bang icons like Acura's new NSX, but medium-sized two-doors offered by companies from Toyota to Rolls-Royce alongside their near-identical sedans. I'm talking about the Toyota Solara, the Infiniti Q60, and today's subject, the 2018 Mercedes-Benz E400 4MATIC Coupe. With compromised functionality and inflated prices, what drives buyers into the less than spacious cabins of these two doors? Magnificence, beyond any doubt. However, the tasteful favorable position of roofline control is far from being obviously true. I'm taking a gander at '98 Chevy Lumina Roadster, and possibly a slight dynamic edge because of a shorter wheelbase and some casted-off sheet metal. All things considered, in this specific class, buyers purchase the scandalous variant to delineate that while they've picked a well-known model, Mercedes moves around 50,000 E-classes yearly in the US, they've conveyed enthusiasm to the buy. It shows they will veer off a shocking 30% from anticipated. Their bookkeeper may have guided them to the Honda merchant, however a wanton charisma drove them to ask for the Civic Roadster. The inquiry is, does the Mercedes E400 Coupe transcend that billow of deceptive individuality by means of Stuttgart's notoriety for prevalent engineering and outline? Or then again, by slashing of half of its breadwinning sedan's entryways, did Mercedes deliver a $90,000 Toyota Solara? To discover, I took this Benz to the boulevards of Los Angeles, a town whose occupants, at a higher rate than any place else on the planet, feel a bothering significance exists in them. The initial segment of the appropriate response is sure, the Mercedes E400 Roadster is delightful, particularly hunching down among LA's preposterous, year-round winged creature of heaven sprouts. Not immaculate like the W124 300 CE of old, but rather moving, and, in the speech of the day, THICC. Look it up on Urban Dictionary on the off chance that you set out, ed. With another stage that raises its length, inside space, and nearness over the old form, the past two ages used a hacked-up C-Class skeleton, this is a car that rises above its starting points. With $3,000 of AMG body unit propping up a scaled-down S-Coupe goods and $1,080 of Designo Cardinal red paint, the E400 looks each inch the welterweight float machine it is. The scorn nose loans a boxer's danger, while swagger arrives on account of more charming knickknacks than appears to be reasonable. Strolling up to the Benz, the headlights flicker and swivel, the projectile-flamed royal shimmers, and little spotlights light up the ground. I'll open a way to understand that the showmanship has quite recently started. The inside, as in the S-Class, can be lit up in any of many hues, which play over the two 12 or more inch screens, the $1,300 Designo-lined wood trim, and the robot sphincter air vents. This is a bruiser who's won a few handbags. Stylistic theme aside, the contrast between the sedan and Roadster is basic. Where the E-Class sedan imparts its outline to huge numbers of Europe's taxicabs, the Roadster imparts a shape to its S-Class cousin, whose undertones are substantially more Monaco than Frankfurt Airplane Terminal. Indeed, even the previously mentioned weight of the entryways, or well-off retirees into CrossFit nowadays, helps in making a feeling of event. Working to rise up out of your low through to entryway turns into a sort of humble boast. The drive itself is somewhat more of a blended sack. The E-car is at present offered just with the 3.0-liter turbocharged V6 imparted to the sedan and wagon. A section-level 2.0-liter is coming, similar to an upgraded, AMG-tuned E53, with a more sultry inline-6. Mercedes has no plans to offer a full-quality V8 in the 2 entryway. All things considered, the expectation of this car appears to be more to cause it and voyage than to pull ass. Shockingly, particularly in LA, where most by far of driving is done at under 30 miles per hour, the Roadster's AMG look hardware jumbles things. This present car's entanglement is potholes. Indeed, even at parking area speeds, the extensive Haggles suspension crash over direct to huge knocks. It's a break in the quiet Napa cowhide scene of a car that generally feels as smooth and strong as anything that has worn the 3-pointed star. One arrangement is to influence like they did drive in Flurry. Officer, it's not my blame, my suspension tuning rewards hard speeds. A superior alternative would likely be to skirt the AMG pack. The E400 Coupe was most joyful on LA's expressways at speed around evening time. Pouring my blood coagulation red car onto the Santa Monica Interstate at night, things started to gel. The engine, which can tick insipidly out of gear, sounds throaty from 3000 upwards, the suspension settles, the inside lights, swung to Donna Summer album font pink, were cheap and superb. Pulling up to a plunge bar excessively lovely by any non-LA standard to be a jump bar on West La Cienega, I couldn't however see the tone of the place's neon sign coordinated the lights skipping off the inside's yacht-striped wood. Kismet or no, it gave me the boldness to enter and drink, per my loaning concurrence with the producer, one non-mixed refreshment. After dusk, the high cowl and low nursery that plot to keep in parking structure ticket-taking circumstances influence the lodge to feel like the cockpit each inside architect summons in squeeze briefings. Returning home after my Virgin Daiquiri, Mercedes-Benz's full suite of driving guides cheerfully kept the car easily bopping in the vicinity of 0 and 70 miles per hour as movement ebbed and streamed. The car and its V6 empower robust on-ramp speeds in a way the four-cylinder E300 sedan's engine does not. In any case, at that point, Dave, you've sufficiently checked boxes. The car's steady nature urges you to flip on the driving guides, Drive Pilot, et al., and turn up the radiant Burmeister stereo. The last is a stunning $5,400 choice, however one that had me persuaded I could hear Cardi B's artificial nails clicking against her mic on Bodak Yellow. At last the blend of looks, execution, and out-and-out feel influenced the Roadster to definitely justified even despite the cash to any Mercedes purchaser hoping to practice and enjoy without peaking the $100,000 check or surrendering a usable rearward sitting arrangement. Furthermore, however mine, in exemplary press car design, was part at the creases with a $90,000 MSRP on account of $30,000 in alternatives. The E400 Roadster is best spec'd around $70,000, $90,000 is Porsche 911 cash, and, while the two cars have boundlessly unique MOs, nobody needs the correlation with Porsche's Wunderkind. Pick some dazzling metallic paint, low sparkle wood and cowhide, airmatic body control and the Premium 2 bundle, which includes the tremendous 12.3-inch screen and some driver helps, and appreciate life in the sexier E-Class, one that is harder to enter in any case, following a day of avenue cruising and thankful looks, hard to desert.